What is going on, y'all? Robert Sykes, ketosavage.com, and I've got a special video for you today. It's funny that we're here in 2021 and I have to make a video defining the ketogenic diet, but I feel like people are just getting confused because there's so much controversy out there right now, which is interesting and somewhat comical, but I'm all for just providing as much clarity as I can. So let's dive into some specifics here. First off, I want to start with an illustration of sorts. All right, so there's this continuum. All right, on one side you have super like the semantics of it all. You've got the keto police. All right, you got the people that have a definition for everything, and everything is very rigid, just like a very rigid ideological view towards the ketogenic diet. And on this side, you've got everything goes. All right. Basically, that's like, it's all good, anything's keto, everything's keto. And what we have here in the middle is this pendulum. A pendulum swings, you know, like it sits here at equilibrium and then it goes back and forth. This is what your old grandfather clocks used to operate. And like I said, it swings one direction, it swings another direction. And it's interesting because if you've been in any type of nutritional protocol for enough time, you'll see all these hypes and bubbles come and go. You'll see all these shifts take place, and you'll see people have all this controversy towards things that should never really be controversial to begin with. You see this in politics, you see this in diets, you see this in sports, you see this in everything across all spectrums in all genres. But what's happening right now within the keto space is that you've got, like when keto's been around for forever. But I feel like it got really, really popular in like 2017. Like if you go to the Google Trends, you'll see the spikes occurring, and I'm pretty sure it's around the 2017 timeframe. That's when that's before there was like, you know, a ton of blogs and books and recipes and products. And then 2017 hit and boom, they're coming out the woodwork. When that started happening, you had all these keto police that were just very rigid in their ideological views towards what keto is, and with that you had people telling people what is keto, what isn't keto, is that keto, is this food keto, and it was just like so strange to see people have these rigid views towards what is and is not keto. That was back then, 2017, 2018. The pendulum has shifted now. So now we're in this everything goes category where since keto is just simply a metabolic state, anybody can be in ketosis with any type of diet as long as they're in that metabolic state. And that, I get it, I respect that view, but there's a tipping point in which things become so vague that everybody just leads to confusion. Like nobody knows what's going on, nobody knows what to do because there's not any definitive answer or parameters with anything because everything is so vague. As with most things in life, the answer lies somewhere in the middle. So hopefully I can shed some light onto what that middle ground looks like right now. All right, so I'm thinking that a lot of this issue and controversy stems from the fact that the ketogenic diet is different than ketosis. And now some people may have controversy towards that. Some people may not agree with me towards that. But I feel like we need to kind of dive into some of these specifics here because I feel like this nuance matters. Like when you look at the vegetarian diet or a vegan diet, for instance, that is not a metabolic state diet. It's like you eat this, you follow that. It's pretty much black and white. With regard to keto, since it is kind of a metabolic state, there's more room for controversy to brew. So let's look at ketosis. What is that? Ketosis is simply a process that happens when your body doesn't have enough carbs to burn for energy. Instead, it burns fat and makes things called ketones, which it can use for fuel. We've probably all heard of this definition. We probably all agree with this definition. But I would argue that there's a difference between ketosis and a keto diet. These are not the same. And here's why they're not the same. If I'm following this definition of ketosis and assuming that means the same thing as ketogenic diet, then I could literally eat one apple a day. And with the amount of activity that I produce throughout the day and the energy expenditure I have, I would absolutely be producing ketones and be in a state of ketosis. But I wouldn't really feel right about saying that my 1 apple a day diet is a ketogenic diet. That's just not conducive to what the ketogenic diet is designed to do, and shouldn't be conducive to what the ketogenic diet is designed to do, because that's what creates this massive amount of vague confusion. That's what we're trying to combat against here. So I think it makes sense to distinguish the difference between ketosis and a ketogenic diet. They are different. All right, so let's just rewind a little bit and talk about some basic understanding, some basic definitions of the ketogenic diet. Like if you go on to the internet right now and you type in ketogenic diet definition, what you're probably going to see is some variation of high fat, moderate protein, low carb. That's pretty black and white, but not specific to like macrograms, because they're all going to have some individual nuance and everything there. So let's just look at big picture stuff. So we have the traditional ketogenic diet, also referred to as the therapeutic ketogenic diet. Therapeutic. And this is basically what was used in the 1920s for children with epileptic seizures. The official definition of that is the ketogenic diet is a high-fat, adequate protein, low-carbohydrate diet that in medicine is used mainly to treat hard-to-control refractory epilepsy in children. The diet forces the body to burn fats rather than carbohydrates. The original therapeutic diet for pediatric epilepsy provides just enough protein for body growth and repair and sufficient calories to maintain the correct weight for age and height. Now that's kind of more of the medical version of the ketogenic diet. That is not going to be optimal or necessary for most people that are not suffering from epilepsy and have no issues. I mean, there's definitely some situations where that may be the direction you want to go, but generally speaking, that's not going to be optimal from a muscle building standpoint. Totally get behind that, all right? You could probably tolerate and should probably tolerate much more protein in your diet than a therapeutic ketogenic diet would, incentivize you to follow. So that's one end of the spectrum. From there, we have something that's called a modified ketogenic diet. So basically modified keto. It's also modified Atkins, or some people call it standard keto. All right. So this is what most people are probably following with regard to the ketogenic diet in today's day and age. The definition for modified Atkins, modified keto, standard keto is the modified Atkins diet, MAD for short, is a mix between the classic ketogenic diet, which we just talked about here, and the Atkins diet. The Atkins diet was created by a physician at Johns Hopkins named Dr. Robert C. Atkins in 1972. It limits carbohydrates while allowing for as much protein as the eater desires. The modified diet, on the other hand, it discourages too much protein, encouraging fat in its place, and that oftentimes equates to about a 1-to-1 ratio. So when you're following this is where you hear all this controversy around, too much protein is going to cause gluconeogenesis and turn into chocolate cake. That's probably not the case. That's definitely not the case, so don't worry about that. However, there's also, there's not a whole lot of scientific literature that says of an upper threshold on protein. And because there's not much scientific literature that points to an upper threshold on protein, people just assume that you can eat as much protein as you like and there is no negative impact. But I can assure you that if you start consuming 400 grams of protein, especially if you're in the context of low dietary fat, you're not going to feel optimal. I mean, maybe there's some people that would feel great with that, but that's not going to be the norm. So I feel like just simply giving a no cap to protein is not a wise move either. Gluconeogenesis is a thing, not something that we should necessarily be afraid of. Protein is super, super important, and we shouldn't be, minimizing our protein intake. We should not consume very little protein intake. That's not going to be conducive to a muscle building or muscle sparing standpoint, so don't be afraid of protein. But all that to summarize and say, this is kind of the typical, 70% fat, 75% fat, et cetera, that you see most people following. If you do a 1-to-1 ratio, 1 gram protein per 1 gram of fat, it winds up being about 67, 68, 69, 70% of your calories coming from dietary fat. So that's an important thing to note there. And just as I read in that definition, this typically works out for around a 1-to-1 ratio for most people at like a maintenance. So there's where that is. Another version of keto is cyclical and targeted. All right, abbreviated as CKD and TKD. CKD and TKD are not strict keto. These two are strict keto. Strict keto being basically you're not deviating from that macronutrient distribution that leads you into following a ketogenic diet. CKD and TKD, they can have some merits. I personally don't follow it. I don't have anything against anybody that does. I don't have anything against anybody that follows any diet for that matter. Cyclical ketogenic diet is oftentimes seen as more sustainable for some people because they find strict keto to be too restrictive. So by cycling out of ketosis, temporarily introducing some carbs once a week or something of that nature, or maybe one meal a week or something of that nature, they find it to be more sustainable. And if it's more sustainable for them and they're getting the majority of their benefits from being in a ketogenic state the majority of the time, I can totally get on board with that type of dietary protocol. Targeted ketogenic diet is typically pushed for athletes in which they're consuming a very small amount of carbohydrates pre or post workout usually, and that is simply to help replenish glycogen. Now I would argue that the more deeply adapted you become, the less there is a need to have carbohydrates to replenish that glycogen, but that's a whole other video entirely. But these are two variations of a ketogenic diet that a lot of people are doing, and again, I could totally get on board with that. Now there's another kind of CKD that you may not have heard about, and it's called confused ketogenic diet. And this is what we see a lot of going on right now. So we have so many people that are letting that pendulum shift so far to the other end of the spectrum because they simply view the ketogenic diet as being the same thing as ketosis, and anything that you eat that allows you to be in ketosis, therefore by definition qualifies you as following a ketogenic diet. They're able to get away with all kinds of things, which is what I was kind of illustrating in that apple a day approach. I don't recommend this because with anything in life, as I said at the very beginning of this video, I don't want to get stuck into semantics, but if you go so far from, like on the other end of the spectrum of those rigid ideologies is like so much vagueness that it becomes darkness. And nobody has a clue what's going on because you've got so many people with conflicting bits of information, and when you have that, no progress is made. So, like I said in the beginning, as with most things, let's let the equilibrium come to pass and focus on that middle ground where we do have something in common. Which is why, actually before I get to that, let me just first say that this confused ketogenic diet, I mean, you've got people advocating for minimal dietary fat, like 30 grams or less, 40 grams a total dietary fat a day, and like 300 plus grams of protein. Like, there's nothing against that diet. Like, I personally, if someone wants to follow that diet, more power to them. But to suggest that that is a ketogenic diet, that leads to mass confusion, and I'm not on board with that. And the same thing is true with carbohydrates. If you're trying to do multiple massive carbohydrates, loads throughout the week, again, nothing against that. Like, that works really well for some people. But to suggest that that's a ketogenic diet is the same thing as me saying I eat an apple a day and I'm following a ketogenic diet. It just doesn't make sense. I want people to be a little bit tighter on how they define their dietary protocols. And at the end of the day, whatever works for you, and I can totally get behind that and support it. More power to you. If it's sustainable, if you're healthy, if you're rocking and rolling with it, your performance has improved, your health markers have improved, then keep doing that. But that doesn't mean we have to change the Webster's Dictionary to make it fit your narrative and make it fit what you identify it as, because there shouldn't be identity politics in a nutrition protocol. It just doesn't make sense. All right, so in order to kind of make all this a little bit more streamlined, I've come up with my own personal definition for the ketogenic diet. A nutritional protocol that optimizes the body's ability to perform on a fuel supply of fat and ketones. I feel like that is a very fair and accurate definition of the ketogenic diet. I feel like it gives justice to being in a state of ketosis, and I feel like it works. And I feel like this removes a ton of the confusion. Because if this is what you are trying to do, if this is your dietary protocol, it does not involve eating minimal dietary fat, like just the bare amount to scrape by and have normal brain function, and massive boluses of protein that would, at some point, contribute to gluconeogenesis. Again, not necessarily a bad thing, but probably not optimal from this standpoint. And certainly doesn't allow for massive boluses of carbohydrates, because that's certainly not going to be boding well for optimizing your body's ability to run on fat and ketones. Again, everybody is going to be somewhere in the spectrum here. Everybody's going to have a certain dietary protocol that works really well for them. Everybody's protein needs are going to be a little bit different based off their lean mass. Everybody's fat intake is going to be different based off of their energy expenditure and how much energy supply they need. Everybody's calories are going to be different based off of their metabolic state and, again, their energy output and activity. There's a whole lot of nuance to all this stuff. That's one reason why I have a problem with people suggesting, a macro calculation and just throwing it out there to the public and saying this is what you should follow. Whenever I'm working with clients, I adjust macros every single week based off of the goal and how their body responds. Everything should be a state of flux. But I don't feel like definitions should be in such a state of flux that nobody knows what the hell they're doing anymore. So that's my 2 cents on the identity crisis with keto. Hopefully these definitions shed some light on the topic, and stay tuned later for much more in-depth videos on how to manipulate your protein, how to manipulate your fat, how to fine-tune your macros, because I feel like there's just so much confusion in this topic right now, and I'm excited to shed some light on that. So I'll see you next time.